And as we ask, as we seek, as we knock, and God changes us and changes our situations, then we are better prepared to serve other people as well. Welcome back to the Sermon on the Mount, part 8. Judge not, instead ask, seek, and knock. Today we're going to be looking primarily at Matthew 7, 1 to 12. And this passage starts off with probably one of the most misquoted or misunderstood verses that Jesus ever spoke. Do not judge, or you too will be judged. And this verse has nothing to do with not pointing out issues in other people's lives. It has nothing to do with letting people live the way they want and never speaking against the choices of others. Instead, what it's saying here is it's saying the same thing as I would say to children when I was a teacher, which is when you point the finger at someone else, you've still got 3 fingers pointing back at yourself. Or put another way is when people quite often talk about projecting, where you look at someone else's problems and you see all the flaws in the other person, but really the flaws that you see in them are actually the flaws that you have yourself, but that you are ignoring or that you don't want to see. This is what Jesus is talking about when he says, when he tells a story about someone trying to help someone else with the tiny little speck in their eye while they're completely ignoring the log that is lodged in their own eye. See, just like we talked about last week, we talked about good eyes and bad eyes, and how a good eye sees the needs of other people. And because they see the needs of other people, they are able to see themselves clearly also. Whereas a bad eye, it doesn't see the needs of other people. Instead, it's very short-sighted. It only sees their own situation. It only sees their needs, and therefore it ignores the needs of other people. And because it ignores the needs of other people, it doesn't have clear vision. And that person can't actually see their own needs either. Their jealousy has blinded them to the needs of others as well as their own needs too. So what we're talking about here is we're actually talking about a very, very similar situation. But instead of seeing not seeing the needs of others and being short-sighted, seeing only yourself and your needs, here we have a little bit of a flip or a role reversal. Here we don't have someone who's short-sighted and only looking at themselves. Here we have someone who is long-sighted. They look at everybody else. But as they look at everybody else, they only see everyone else's problems. And because they are looking at everyone else, and they are looking at the problems of everyone else, they do not look at themselves, and they do not see their own needs. And so what Jesus is saying here is he's saying, very similar to what we talked about before, is that someone who has a good eye, someone who sees the needs of others and therefore sees themselves clearly, is also someone who would see the problems in other people as well. And they would look at themselves and recognize the own problems that they have in their lives, the way that they can relate to other people, and the work that needs to be done in their own lives, so that they can understand the problems that other people are having as well, in comparison to someone who doesn't want to look at their own issues. They just want to find fault and blame in everyone else. You see, you have to understand, if you want to be able to help other people, if you want to be able to serve other people, if you want to be able to help people with their problems, then you need to look at your own problems first. You need to look at your own situation first. Because how can a teacher teach what they have not learnt themselves? How can you help someone with a situation if you're ignoring the same situation in your own life? By pointing out all the faults in other people, but not being able to do anything to relate to them or to help them, all you're doing is bringing condemnation without bringing any help or support. And if you want to be able to help and support other people, then what you need to do is you need to go through your own gunk first. Because going through your own gunk first is going to help you understand how you can help other people with their gunk. This is why Jesus says we need to ask and it will be given. We need to seek and we will find. We need to knock and the door will be opened to us. See, when we ask God for provision, when we ask God for help, when we ask God for understanding, if we see people clearly, if we see ourselves clearly, then what we are asking for is we are not asking only for our benefit. We are asking for provision so that as we are blessed, we can bless others. We are asking for wisdom so that as we learn, we can teach others. It's the same with seeking. When we seek solutions, when we seek help, what happens is when we find that help, then we are in a better position to be able to guide other people who are seeking also. When we knock, when we look for opportunities, and when doors open unto us, then again it is not only for our own selfish benefit. It is so that we can open doors for other people as well. What happens is when we see other people clearly, then we are able to help them effectively. When we see the needs of other people, then we understand our own needs better. When we see the flaws and the faults in other people, and we start to look at our own flaws and our own faults, then we can deal with those flaws and faults that we have in our own lives so that we are in a better position to help then other people also. See, Jesus said in Matthew 7:12, so in everything, do to others what you would have them do to you, for this sums up the law and the prophets. Jesus wants to change the way we see others. He wants us to be able to understand, to be able to relate, to be able to care for other people. Because as we care for other people, as we see their needs, as we see their problems, as we see their struggles, what it does is if we're not just coming from a place of condemnation, but we're actually coming from a place of actual caring, is it lets us understand our own needs also. It lets us reflect on our own lives, on our own situations. And as we ask, as we seek, as we knock, and God changes us and changes our situations, then we are better prepared to serve other people as well. This puts us in a place of reliance on God, where we are not so proud that we think we have it all together and that we know everything and that, everyone should look to us for great wisdom. No, it puts us in a place where we understand our brokenness, where we understand our needs, where we understand our flaws. And when we understand these things, then we understand what it means to be poor of spirit. We understand what it means to be in need of God. And when we know our needs and we know the needs of other people, we ask, we seek, we knock. And then God, what does He do? When we ask, we receive. When we seek, we find. When we knock, doors open. Not only for ourselves, but so that we can be a blessing to other people also. Thank you very much.